Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Coach Drink, the Missouri Tigers continue to roll in the transfer portal, landing another commitment from former South Alabama linebacker Khalil Jacobson. When you start talking about Khalil Jacobs, I think you have to recognize we're talking about one of the more hot commodities available during this spring transfer portal window. You take a look at some other programs that were going after Khalil Jacobs: Auburn, Alabama, Ole Miss, and once again, Coach Drink, Missouri, coming in and making another massive addition through the transfer portal. And the Missouri Tiger fans who've been listening for the last couple of weeks and months know that I don't think there's a coach or program that is doing a better job using the transfer portal and the high school recruiting trail to build a roster than Coach Drink in this Missouri program. You take a look at bringing in top 20 high school recruiting classes, top 15 transfer portal classes. Talk about building a roster in the modern era of college football. In my opinion, this is exactly how it's supposed to look. And you saw the fruits of their labor show in 2023. You're going to see it show again in 2024. It's no secret the fellas are extremely high on what Missouri can do in 2024. Want to get into Khalil Jacobs, take a look at a little bit of the film, talk about what he brings to this Missouri defense. Before we do, and as always, just want to say thank you to you guys, to the Missouri Tiger fans. It's been a blast talking this program on the high school recruiting trail in the transfer portal. You guys continue to show a ton of love to the boys. Can't thank y'all enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And without further ado, let's get into Khalil Jacobs. And I want to start with, what kind of linebacker you're getting with Khalil Jacobs. And although a little bit undersized at 6'2", only 220 pounds, you were talking about the ideal modern college football linebacker. And what I mean by that is you look at what opposing offenses are trying to do in terms of making defenses defend pretty much every blade of grass on the football field, trying to find ideal matchups. You need linebackers that can operate in space, right? Whether it's going sideline to sideline, chasing down plays, whether it's carrying tight ends up the seam, whether it's going out and tackling running backs in the flat. You're seeing opposing offenses really try to attack linebackers in certain matchups. How defenses are going about kind of defending these offenses is getting souped up athletic linebackers that can operate in space. We say this a lot, and gone are the days where you need the 250-pound linebackers that just operate in the box. You need linebackers that can operate in coverage, that can operate in space, and that's exactly what Khalil Jacobs is. This is a guy that at the high school level played linebacker, running back, is a phenomenal athlete at that off-ball linebacker position. I think potentially the thing that I love most about Khalil Jacobs is two things. One, he's exceptional getting downhill. 56 tackles, 8.5 tackles for a loss. This is a linebacker that wants to make his plays at or behind the line of scrimmage. But I think more importantly, you're talking about a linebacker that is an elite pass rusher. And you look at Missouri and what they've done with their linebackers over the last couple of years. I don't think there's a defense across the country that has used linebackers as pass rushers as effectively as Khalil Jacobs. You talk about how Coach Drink was able to win this recruiting battle. I think they sold Khalil Jacobs as, hey, you're perfectly fit for this Missouri defense. You take a look at the film and you remember how Tyron Hopper and those kind of linebackers, they love to blitz. They love to get downhill. You're looking at a guy in Khalil Jacobs who can kind of bring that kind of juice as well in the pass rush department against Tulane here, playing that off-ball linebacker spot. Really going to kick down to that edge rusher role here, and you are going to see just some incredible gap closing from a guy like Khalil Jacobs. Michael Pratt can't even get the ball. You talk about making plays that win you football games. That's Khalil Jacobs, right? The athleticism, the speed to close the distance, go get the quarterback. Not many linebackers bring that kind of juice off the edge. Khalil Jacobs is one of those guys that brings it. And you go to Missouri and you take a look at what they've done building this roster. Top 20 high school recruiting class in 2024, a top 15 transfer portal class. You start scrolling down to what they've done in the portal. We talk about this a lot. There are a lot of programs that go to the transfer portal and just bring in as many names as they can. And that we kind of are critical of that because that is not how you want to build a roster. You look at what Coach Drink is doing in the portal. They made 14 additions. But I think what you want to talk about is the additions that they've made are all, difference makers, guys that are going to be contributors for this Missouri team. We can all think of those programs that just go to the portal and add as many names as they can. I think Colorado and Coach Prime come to mind. You look at Missouri and what they've done. It's very calculated. It's really good football players. You start scrolling down the list, Marcus Bryant, a guy that is an NFL caliber tackle in my mind. Darius Smith, a guy that looks phenomenal in the spring game coming from Georgia. You got Nate Noel and Marcus Carroll coming in at that running back spot. Caden Green, one of the best young offensive linemen in the country coming in. A guy like Torino Pride Jr., who was a stud as a true freshman for the Clemson Tigers. You start scrolling down this list and say, difference maker after difference maker on both sides of the football. A guy like Zion Young, you beat out Georgia for an elite edge rusher that was available in the transfer portal. Many of you guys know that I'm a massive fan of what Missouri's done building this roster, and I really think it comes from, hey, we're going to build our roster through the high school ranks, but we are going to use the transfer portal to enhance our roster, bring in high-quality players that have experience. That is, exactly what the Missouri Tigers have done. I think they get better with Khalil Jacobs. You start looking at that linebacker room. You brought in Corey Flack from Miami and say, it's a lot of linebackers with a lot of experience, a lot of versatility, some different skill sets. I'm fired up about this Missouri team heading into 2024. Another massive addition from Khalil Jacobs. We'll continue to break down this Missouri team during the summer. We'll cut it there. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to y'all later.